Okay, so I just wanted to read a little bit from the book of uh, Baruch, and it says this. When the Father Elohim saw these things, he sent down Baruch, his own third angel, to comfort the spirit living in all people. When Baruch came, he stood among the angels of Edom, in the midst of paradise. Paradise was the angels among whom he stood, and he commanded the people to eat from every tree in paradise, except from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, which tree is Naas. I noticed, with Baal and Naas, and there seems to be these two A's that are con, conjuncted together. I don't know what that means. Um, it's just something I've noticed. They could obey the other 11 angels of Edom, but for they have passions, they do not disobey the commandment. But not Naas disobeyed. He approached Eve and seduced her, debauched her, which is a transgression. And he approached Adam and played with him as a boy, which is a transgression. Wow. So, so adultery and uh, pederasty or pederasty were born. Since then, evil and good have ruled people. It began from a single source. When the Father ascended to the good, he showed the way for those who wished to rise. By leaving Edom, he began the evil for his spirit in people. So Baruch went to Moses and through him spoke to the children of Israel to turn them back to the good. But Edom's third angel, Naas, barred his way. Through the soul Edom gave him and Moses and all people. And Naas expunged Baruch's orders, and only Naas' commandments were heard. And so soul was set against spirit, and spirit set against soul. The soul is Edom, while the spirit is Elohim. And each is in both man and woman. And Baruch was sent down to the prophets so that the spirit living in people might hear and flee from Edom and her corrupt creation, as once Father Elohim fled. But Naaz, using his old tactics, dragged the Father's spirit down into the soul of the people he seduced, who scorned Baruch's words and Elohim's commandments. And Baruch chose a prophet from the uncircumcised, Heracles, and sent him to subdue 12 angels of Edom, and freed the Father from 12 angels of creation. These are the 12 labors in which Heracles contended from first to last with the lion, the hydra, the boar, and the rest, and they are all names and nations given to them from the power of maternal angels. Just when he seemed victorious, Omphada, who is Babel or Aphrodite, attacked him, seduced him, and took away his strength. And Baruch's commandments ordered by Elohim, and then she wrapped him in her own robe, and the power of Edom, the power from below, Heracles' prophecies and work were nothing. Finally, in the days of King Herod, Baruch was sent once more by Elohim, and he came to Nazareth and found Jesus, the son of Joseph and Mary feeding sheep, a boy of 12. And he told him everything that had happened from the beginning, from Edom and Elohim and all that will be. And he said, all the prophets before you were seduced. But Jesus, earthly son, try not to be seduced, and preach the word to people, and tell them about the Father and the good, and ascend to the good and sit with Elohim, Father of us all. And Jesus obeyed the angel, and he said, Lord, I will do all things. He affirmed this. Naaz wanted to seduce him too, but he could not. Jesus kept the faith with Baruch. Then Naaz was enraged, but he could not seduce him, and he had him crucified. Jesus left his body to Edom by the tree and ascended to the good, and he said to her, Woman, here is your son. He left his soul, an earthly body, but his spirit he placed in the hands of the Father. And he ascended to the good. The good is Priapos, who created before anything was. He called Priapos because he made everything, so in temples everywhere he is honored by all creation. On the road he walks carrying fruits of creation, whose cause he was, since he created before anything was. Now when you hear that the swan lay on Leda and produce a child from her, the swan is Elohim and Leda is Edom. When they saw that the eagle came upon Ganymede, The eagle is Nas, and the Ganymede is Adam. When you hear one say that gold came down from Da'mina'e and produced a child from her, the gold is Elohim, and Da'mina'e is Edom. In this way, tales are interpreted, comparing to similar myths. When the prophets say, "Hear heaven, listen earth, the Lord has spoken." The spirit of Elohim in people is heaven. The soul living with the spirit in people is earth. The Lord is Baruch, and Israel Edom. And Elohim's wife is called Edom in Israel. Israel did not know me, and if she had known that I am with the good, she would not have tortured the spirit that lives in people because of the ignorance of the Father. When the prophet is said to take a woman for himself to fornicate, because the earth is fornicated behind the Lord, even as Edom behind Elohim, in these words, the prophet tells the whole mystery, but because of Na'ah's wickedness, he is unheard. Also, this is the Gospel of Judas. When Jesus came to live upon the earth, he did dynamic miracles and wonders for the salvation of the people world. While some walked in the way of justice, others ambled about in their transgressions. So he called for 12 students to help. He spoke to them about the mysteries and beyond the world and what would happen at the end came upon him, and frequently he wouldn't come himself before his students mingled among them. They would find a child. See, this is interesting. Here's what he says here, angry students. When the students had listened to all of this, they broke into anger and fury. They began to execrate him in their hearts. When Jesus noticed their deep ignorance and interior weakness, he asked them, Why has your agitation made you furious? The God who operates inside you spurs the anger in your souls. Let any one of you endowed with strength among the beings on earth produce a perfect human stand near so I can gaze on him face to face. They all replied to him, We have that strength. Here their beings of spirit did not dare to stand except before him, except for Judas Iscariot. He was able to stand before the figure, but couldn't look him in the eye and turn his face down and away. And Judas said, I know who you are and where you come from. You are from the deathless realm of the Eon of Barbela, the holy swords of all, and my mouth is unworthy to utter the ineffable name of him who sent you. When Jesus saw Judas brooding on the rest of what is exalted, he motioned to him, Come here, and I shall tell you mysteries of the kingdom. Not that you'll go there, but you'll go through deep grief, for someone will replace you to complete the circle of 12 before their God. And Judas said to him, When will you give me these secrets, and when will that great day of light spread dawn upon the generation? But by the time he spoke, Jesus was gone. And that's why I did hear somewhere that, I think it was in Egyptian texts, that they said, Jesus could like shapeshift and manifest into whoever he wanted. That's why Judas gave him a kiss. Because he could move through dimensions and stuff so quickly. And early in the morning, Jesus came again, and before his students, they said to him, Master, after you left us, you disappeared. Where did you journey to, and what did you do? Jesus told them, I went to a holy and great dominion of another generation. His students asked, What is the generation that lies above us, holier than we are, and one that does not glitter in our world? Jesus heard this, he laughed and said, Why are you mumbling in your hearts about the strong and holy generation? I tell you, no one is born in this eon will be able to glimpse that generation. No army of angels from the stars will have dominion over that generation. No person of mortal birth can join it, because the generation is not from what has come to be. The ones that make up the people among you are from here, from the human generation. Powers through which you rule. And on another day,